Welcome and welcome back, everybody, to the OK Grognard Show. Today is Monday, August 9th, 2021, 10 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. We're going to look at artwork as inspiration. And you know, this is one of those full circle things, right? Because we're going to be talking about some of the artwork from Magic the Gathering's latest set release, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. Yep, Magic has kind of gone back to its roots here, looking at a D&D setting for a plane, as they do with each setting, or with each set release. It exists somewhere in the Magic universe, most often set on one particular plane or another. Good morning, George. Yeah, a little bit wet out today. Indeed. In particular, I want to look at Phil Stone's artwork. He did some of the showcase cards, and we'll get into what that means in just a little bit. But this gelatinous cube was one of his pieces, and I just think it's fantastic. But as you can tell, I'm already a fan of gelatinous cubes, so no surprise there, right? Anyway, he's got some other ones in this. We'll look at those too. I do want to say also that, well, let me tell you a little bit about Magic for me, because I was a war gamer. As a gamer, I was a war gamer. Parlor gamer first, I guess. I call games like Life and Monopoly and Chutes and Ladders and whatnot parlor games to distinguish them from board games that have require a bit more involvement. There are party games that are probably pretty easy to jump to from parlor games, but once you get into board games proper, in the sense that we use the term now, whether it's Euro games or homegrown games, worker placement games, tile placement games, resource management games, hand management games, card management games. Whether you get into any of that, once you get into any of that, you're in a whole nother level. And I was definitely a parlor gamer as a preteen, and discovered wargaming through some friends locally in the neighborhood where I grew up, and we started going to a regular wargaming club at the local rec center. This was in Waukegan. It was populated a lot of the people that went there were from Great Lakes Naval Training Center or from the old Fort Sheridan base, which has since closed down. Great Lakes is still open and running. So it was a good environment to learn strategy games and tactics and everything that went into war games. And it wasn't long before D&D came out in '74, and everyone knows that story that knows me. It's what we added to the mix, and it predominates most of my gaming. First edition D&D at this point. But Magic 1993 comes on the scene, a game created mostly by people who played D&D and other games like that. And when we were playing games back in those days and earlier, and we were waiting for everybody to arrive, we would usually pull out a little card game called Whiz Wars, which was everybody played a wizard, and you had a bunch of cards which were spells, and you could cast them. You were protecting a treasure. Each other wizard was protecting a treasure. The object was to steal other people's treasures while protecting your own and win the game. Well, Magic similarly became a card game fast-paced card game, which people could use certainly to kill a little time before the rest of the D&D group arrived. And it was really inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. Two wizards throwing spells at each other. It became so much more complex over the quarter century plus now that it's been around. I want to say 28 years, right? 93, 2021. And fantastic game. Very complex, very much fun. I played a number of times over the years here and there. Dabbled in it really, never really got into it fully. Much more of an RPGer still and always a war gamer. Play a lot of board games, always loved card games, but Magic can be all consuming. It's definitely a game that you can get into and spend more and more time on and play deeper and deeper into the game. Let's take a look over here. There we go. You know what I want to do? I want to edge that up a little bit so we can see even more of this. There we go. Beautiful. All right, this site is called Mythic Spoiler. Good morning, Bactus 90. Thanks for jumping in today. We're looking at the new set, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, a Dungeons and Dragons Magic the Gathering crossover set. We've had a few books in D&D 5th edition that were influenced by planes of magic. Hey, Rick, good to see you. Hey, Prometheus 2128, back again, huh? It's been a bit. The cards of this particular set, all inspired by one of the grand old settings. Not the oldest. It's not Blackmoor. It's not Greyhawk. But Forgotten Realms is, without a doubt, probably the third oldest full-blown setting for Dungeons and Dragons. So, looking at this, of course, Mordenkainen, Loth, the Spider Queen. You've got a lot of characters they have to plug in because they have specific balance issues they have to follow when they are creating a set. You need mythic rares, the red symbol cards. You need a few of those. You need gold symboled cards. Lots of dragons in this set. Old Gnawbone, the green dragon, red Inferno of the Starmounts. A Dracolich, Ebon Death in the black slot. Not even sure how to pronounce this. I'm going to go with Imrith, Desert Doom, the blue dragon, shooting out that lightning. Icing Death, Frost Tyrant, a white dragon. You've got others in here. There's Acerich, the Archlich, Demilich, Flameskull, the Tarask is there, the Book of Exalted Deeds, Book of Vile Darkness. It's 5th edition, you know, so a long rest is a thing. I used this in a mono green deck just a week and a half ago. Had a good time. It was a pretty solid deck. I was doing pretty well with it. You got a Zorn, classic Zorn. Bards, Mind Flayers, Asmodeus, a Teleportation Circle. Look at the Dancing Sword. Froghemoth. I love this card. There's just something eerily disgusting about a frog horror in the guise of Froghemoth. And you start to get into more generalized characters and types and monsters. There's a white ochre jelly dragon turtle. The black staff of Waterdeep. There's the gelatinous cube. Now that is the, I want to say Quentin. I'm going to double check the artist on this. A Zorn killed me in Frankie's game. Oh no, sorry to hear that, Prometheus. Bernard? Oliver Bernard. Thank you. Sorry about that. You know, I always thought they put the artist on here, but I guess they don't on Mythic Spoiler. I'll tell you what, though. There's a Wish spell. You've got a Flump in here. Sphere of Annihilation, Orb of Dragonkind. Vorpal Sword. You can Wild Shape. There's a Blink Dog. Check for traps. They've got some of these spells are set up as activities one might perform. There's a Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Look at the Rust Monster. Boy, this is reminiscent of one of Thanos' buddies, isn't it? Floating around. You meet in a tavern. Classic trope. Hey, Hobbsy, what's up? We're looking at Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Magic the Gathering set. Kind of an art as inspiration show today. Demogorgon's Clutches. There's a Roper. But you know, what I was really looking to do, you happen upon a glade. There's another white dragon. Split the party. Flavor text says don't. Don't split the party. Critical hit there. Hunter's Mark. Driders. Goblin Morningstar. So many of the tropes of Magic the Gathering directly translate. There's a green dragon. Displacer Beast. So many of the tropes, they just translate so easily from one to the other. You can tell that Magic's roots are deep in Dungeons and Dragons. You find some prisoners. Choose one. Break their chains. You destroy target artifact. Interrogate them. Exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. Choose one of them. Till the end of your next turn, you may play that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. So very useful, and I love cards that have a choose this option or that option, sometimes 3 options, because it keeps the card relevant all throughout a game. There's always an option that makes it worthwhile. Sometimes cards that have a single option, a single thing that they do, are less useful later in the game or early in the game. They're not useful, and you have to wait to get them out or use them. There's a black dragon. This Prosperous Innkeeper was very helpful for me a couple of weeks ago. Purple Worm, classic. You see a pair of goblins. Dungeon Crawler, Power Word Kill. That's some cool artwork. Look at this guy just putting the word out there and snapping this guy's spine like it was nothing. That's crazy. Shocking Grasp, Steadfast Paladin, Armory Veteran. Plummet, it's a classic spell from other sets of Magic the Gathering, but it works great in this, especially with so many dragons flying around. You need something that can take a dragon out. Boots of Speed, Ranger's Longbow, Thieves' Tools. There's even a 50 feet of rope in this. Anyway, I'm gonna move a little bit forward here, because one of the cool things about sets since Throne of Eldraine, which was 8 sets ago, is that they've been doing these showcase cards. There's a Baleful Beholder. Ooh, nasty. Manticore. And these, the owlbear. Let's check the owlbear out real quick. There he is. Very nice. He's just friendly. Just wants to lick your face. And they've been coming out with these things called showcase cards, which are alternate art. There's a whole set of enchantments in here that are based off the various classes in D&D. And they're enchantments that have 3 phases. You pay more for the second phase, the third phase. These are cumulative, though. So once this is in the game doing this, it keeps doing this, and you pay more, and it will do this as well. You're leveling up in a class is what it does. Monk class, Rogue, Sorcerer, Fighter, Bard, Druid, Barbarian, Warlock, Wizard, Cleric, Paladin, and Ranger. all of them wonderful and great ways of making your board state a lot more dangerous and challenging. So then we've also got multicolor cards. There's Tiamat, 5 color plus 2 colorless, 7 CMC, Xanathar, Minx, go for the eyes, boo, Skeletal Swarming, Volo. Think, yeah, some classics here. Orcus, there's an adult gold dragon. There's Trist. You know he was going to make an appearance in Forgotten Realms, right? Some other characters that help fill out the balance of the different color sets because you want everything to be able to play against each other. Once you build your decks, you want the piloting of the deck to be the thing that gets you there. There is a Magic game on Steam. I think I'll have to read some reviews. Yeah, you should. Check it out. It's a fun game for sure. The Deck of Many Things, Hand of Vecna, Eye of Vecna, Treasure Chest, Iron Golem, Bag of Holding, a dungeon map, 50 feet of rope, leather armor, great axe, spare dagger, mimic, spiked pit trap. Some beautiful looking lands. The artwork on these lands is phenomenal. Now, these are the straight up regular ones. I'm going to show you some very cool things they did. Here are all your basic lands. Here are some dungeons you can enter, and you can move through these over the course of the game as a sort of a side game within the game. Very fun. And we're going back up. Cave of the Frost Dragon, Hall of the Storm Giants. These are specific lands. These are mostly gold, so they are rares. That's an uncommon. And a common, Evolving Wilds, is pretty classic Magic cards. It winds up in a lot of sets. It helps you fix mana, as they say. Go and fetch the color of land that you need, a basic land. The beauty is these showcase cards. This is where you really get me going. So they have these cards that they have done some alternate art on in a sort of a sketch mode, and I think these are phenomenal. Look at this gelatinous cube, one of Phil Stone's 8 cards in this set. And there are others. I mean, Jeff D did some. Diesel has some work in here. There's his ooze. There's a number of artists in here that you would know and love. But I'm focusing on Phil Stone today. So we'll just have a quick look through these. There's a classic vampire, right? Zombie soldier. We got it all. Look at this guy. There's your Zorn. Blink dog. Different view of one, right? Got these displacer beasts. That's another Phil Stone. Bugbear. The hulking bugbear. Beautiful stuff. There's a roper. There's the beholder. So all of these cards, I mean, you get a hold of these cards, you can use them as flashcards in game if you're just a D&D player. Level 10, still some story to go. Fun game for sure, man. How is your Scholastic even good? Oh, he's asking about. I gotcha. All right. Let's see. Here's some different extended or borderless cards. Extended art are in the collectors. So these ones are the borderless. There's a basilisk. Look at that bastard. All of these cards we saw higher up on the scroll here, but these are alternate art or extended art versions here. Absolutely beautiful. There's Tiamat. Look at that. I think that card's going for about 70, 80 bucks right now on the secondary market. Look at the dragons. I mean, those are just so beautiful. Even the Demi-Lich gives you pause. Xanathar, Asmodeus. But you know what? We're going to roll on down because we're going to see something that's even cooler, in my opinion, before we focus in on Phil's work, Phil Stone's work. We're going to look at these module cover lands. Remember those lands I talked about earlier that were gold symboled? They set these lands up like they were old school adventure modules. Cave of the Frost Dragon, Den of the Bugbear, Dungeon Descent, Hall of the Storm Giants. You've got Hive of the Eye Tyrant, Lair of the Hydra, Treasure Vault, Temple of the Dragon Queen, and of course, Evolving Wilds. Sacrifice Evolving Wilds, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. So you take a turn off to get a land you need. Mana fixing. Anyway, those are just so cool. And that's a great set all around. I mean, if you did nothing but collect these cards just to use the artwork for your own personal inspiration, maybe set it up on a frame some of these, especially these lands. These are phenomenal. I'm not sure what value these are going to eventually attain, but I can only think that given how specific the artwork is on these, that they won't be reprinted as such. And I don't see why you reprint them differently if you go do reprints. So I'm guessing these things are one-offs. They're going to be in this set and only in this set. I don't see them doing much more with that. So let me switch over. I want to take you to, and I'll have these links in the show notes, but I want to do a quick look over at Phil Stone LLC, his website. These links will all be in the Mythic Spoiler, Phil Stone, his Facebook, The Gatherer. We'll get into that. So he does some really great work. And he has a spot on Facebook too. Here's where his 8 cards are all on one sheet, which is really neat. He did a wonderful thing where a young fan sent him the card, Gelatinous Cube, and said, "Oh, could you please sign this for me? I'd really appreciate it," so on and so forth. Phil not only signed the card and sent it back to him, but he sent him a signed and numbered poster with the artwork from that card and some of the concept art. Just a wonderful thing. The kid sent back this picture and said, "Hey, I framed it. It's up on the wall. Show you some of the rest of what I got," he said. He's got some of the old school stuff there. Basic set, a couple of the games. 4th anniversary. There you go. Got some other Magic memorabilia. So just wonderful. Just wonderful that he took care of this young fan in the way he did. And here again is blown up. You can go to his Facebook page and check this out. But we'll have a closer look at all of these real quick. Loathsome Troll. These are the 8 cards. And if you search on Gatherer by the artist, they'll show you every card that artist, search criteria artist, does contain Phil Stone. They will show you everything that particular artist has done in all of Magic history. And in this case, Phil is new to Magic card artistry. But you gotta love these. I just love the sketch feel to them and how dynamic they are. Sure, it's great when you have a kind of a portrait of someone, but it's wonderful when you see at the ready action. This guy's ready to launch this Dragon Knight. I'm sure meant to be a Dragonborn Paladin, right? A white, look at that. Let's get a create zombies for you with clattering skeletons. When it dies, venture into the dungeon, that side game we talked about. But there you go. Contact this guy for commissions. Phil Stone, great work. Does a great job. And I see we're getting short on time, 25 minutes in. I want to check one more thing out, or show one more thing. There's a page on which Magic the Gathering has stories. Each set, they commission stories to be written that's kind of tell the story of why these planeswalkers or these various characters are on this particular plane, what they're doing there, how it weaves in with the greater story that is the legacy of Magic the Gathering. But this time around, they did something a little different. They commissioned Will Hindmarch, who's been around for quite some time, writing adventures and doing a great job, to write 5 adventures, several of them short, a couple fairly long. In Scarlet Flames, The Hidden Page, Verdant Tomb, Deepest Night. So instead of just writing short stories or chapters of a larger novella or larger work, ongoing series, Will Hindmarch wrote 5 adventures. The planeswalkers were taken and they were made into characters. You can go here, download the short adventure. I'll pop that open in just a second, but also know you can download the classic planeswalker characters written up as D&D 5th edition characters. And I'll tell you, if you're a D&D guy, 1st edition, whatever, don't miss your chance to look at something that's been put together by a very excellent writer of adventures and D&D for 20 years, I guess, and more now. I think he started with adventures that were sent into Dragon Magazine or Dungeon Magazine, and was very prolific during the 3.x era. The beginnings of the OGL certainly helped guys like Will get more and more stuff out there more readily rather than just relying on one place to write D&D adventures. Anyway, 2 Red Wizards of Thay have undertaken the secret mission of the High Moors. There's your adventure. There are your characters. All of these downloadable as PDFs. There are 5 of them. Here's what one of them looks like. Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. We'll just zip through from page to place. You know, well put together, just like you would expect. Nice artwork inside of these. Got a lot going on. And, of course, you've got monsters created. Now, these are for 5th edition, but, you know, convert these if you want. Check out the maps. Don't we love maps? Don't we love maps? We always love maps. Side view, always fun. So you've got everything here. I would go and check these out. Magic the Gathering, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, the newest standard D&D set. Was meant to take the place of a core set, I should mention, but believe me, this has got a lot more juice than any core set that I've ever played. So let me say, don't mistake this for an underpowered typical core set, which are generally there to fill in the holes in standard and be an entry point for newer players into the grand scheme of things. Nope, this is hot, this is good, this is fun. Check it out. Phil Stone, good stuff. If you need someone to make art for an adventure, this guy's got it going on. All right, let's just say that. Thanks for checking in today. Thanks for being a part of the show. I do appreciate it very much. Don't forget, we are here streaming on Twitch every Monday at 10 a.m. Central. Show streams live on Twitch each Monday at 10 a.m. Central and is then archived on YouTube. If you check us out during a live stream, by all means follow the channel. Do chime in on the voice chat. We'd appreciate it. If you're checking it out on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Click on the little bell so you get updates whenever we upload a new episode. Give us a thumbs up for videos you like and enjoy, and by all means feel free to comment in the comments section. We'll read them all. Once again, thank you. This has been the OK Grognard Show.